Well, today, folks, we're going to talk a little bit about what is going on with Putin and his threats of using nuclear weapons, ballistic missiles to be exact. And I see we have all made it past the September 24th, whatever was supposed to happen. We're going to cover this and a few other things on today's show. I'm Laoch, and this is Laoch's When the Hammer Drops. All right, folks. So it has been a crazy weekend with, September 24th and people, the conspiracy theories flying about that because of what the German chancellor said, that September 24th will all remember where we were on that day because it's a day of infamy. He was actually referring to February. So, there was a little bit of typo, but boy, did that go nuts all over the web, all over TikTok, everywhere. And you know what? I was hearing about him. It's like, well, okay, I heard both sides. I'm like, well, that'd be kind of crazy if something actually did happen on September 24th. So, I listened to both sides and it came and went. And it's like, go figure, But, we do have some real, I guess one thing that did happen on the 24th was the rumors about Xi Jinping being locked down in his house. It's kind of weird because if that in fact is true, folks, let me explain. Let me explain this to you real quick. Xi Jinping, he is a ruthless dictator. He's a man of his army and all that stuff, but he is a ruthless dictator. He rules with an iron fist, so to speak. If you don't know anything about the CCP, I'll break it down to you basically here in a nutshell. They're probably the most evil communist nation ever. The people of China are wonderful people. It's the CCP that gives the Chinese people a very bad name because of, the human trafficking that's going on there, the organ harvesting that's going on there, the persecution of, basically, if you have a belief in any sort of God, you're going to get locked up in a concentration camp until you fall in line with the CCP. That's how bad it is especially underneath Xi Jinping right now. Well, it was said on the 24th that military was going to Beijing, or was it Beijing or was it Singapore? I think it was Beijing. And basically, Xi Jinping was on lockdown. He was on house arrest, stripped of his powers with the PLA, and it was given to the general. Well, the general. Now, here's the thing. There's been a power struggle, kind of what was going on here in the States with Trump and the Democrats and all that stuff. It's kind of like the same thing happening over there with Xi Jinping, where you have the extreme left, and if you can look at Xi Jinping as the extreme right or the right, I don't know. I would say you have the left and the very, very extreme left in that aspect because that's kind of what it's like. But so the new person, if this is in fact true, because this is rumors, we're never really going to understand or know the truth, I guess, because, CCP state media, they're not going to release this kind of stuff because they don't want to appear weak, especially with how they want to invade Taiwan and eventually come over here to the States because, they're buying up millions and millions of dollars. And, again, Biden's in their back pocket. So you have all this going on. So they don't want to appear weak. But if this general, if this is in fact true, and the general is the one that's actually coming in there to take over, oh boy, I feel sorry for the Chinese people, and we better, I hate to say it like this, we better be on our fucking toes with this one, folks, because that guy, that general, he's probably dumb enough to try and launch an offensive against America on American soil. Just so you know. That's the kind of person that general is. So I'm going to keep look on that. When more progresses with that, I will definitely bring that to you guys. But you're not going to hear about this in mainstream media. If you want to learn more about what is going on over at China, I would highly recommend publications like the Epoch Times. They have a lot of great information when it comes to China and the CCP. Also, the Vision Times. Those two publications, very trustworthy, especially, they refuse to go with the narrative that the deep state and all that stuff wants, like Fox News. They're not bought and paid for by the CCP. So they're going to be straight up with you. Those are the two publications I would recommend for news when it comes to like China and even world news. Another thing I would highly, highly recommend is if you actually want to know more about what's going on outside of the States, outside of the United States, seriously, and this will actually save you money. And this is not me doing a plug or anything like that, but I would highly recommend going with like an IPTV service where you can have multiple countries, and that way you can kind of just like look and see what actually is going on in other countries, like what's going on in Iran at France at the Iran embassy and all that stuff. You can see that stuff actually unfolding on live TV. News from Australia, news from the UK, everything. I would highly recommend something like that because that's kind of what I do. I kind of like to go through that and, kind of see what's up. Because obviously you can't believe what CNN's saying. You can't believe what CBS, NBC, your local Fox stations. I mean, Fox News, the main one, they're starting to align, but I still won't forget they were the ones that called the election for Biden, and that's what, I think they're just trying to make up for now. So those are some of the things that you can do, but I will definitely be keeping an eye on this situation as it unfolds. I will bring more to you. Now, we have Russia. Let's talk about Russia for a little bit here. I want to talk to you about Russia, and I also want to talk to you about what's going on at our southern borders. Right now, I don't know if you remember, if anybody caught when Biden was saying that it doesn't make sense to send people back that were crossing the border, because some of these people now that are crossing the border are from Venezuela, Cuba, and Nicaragua. Okay, so he's saying that it's not beneficial to send them back, and I'm sorry, folks, but I have to disagree with Biden, like I always do, 150% on this, because I'm going to take you down a little road. Follow me here for a second. You can look up all this information on your own. You can actually Google it, and it's going to come up. Also, look at, if you don't want to take my word, I completely understand, but look at my TikTok. I just did a TikTok of this with articles, so you can see it plain as day. But one thing that these three countries have in common is that they all back Russia. They all back Putin. So why, when we have an invasion going on at our southern borders, why would we allow the people of those three countries? And I get it. You might sit there and say, well, it's humanitarian, it's this and that. They're trying to get away from the dictatorship. But we don't know that for sure because we're just letting these people in. If they want to come in, I say, fine. We need to do our due diligence and vet them at the border and not let them go until we know for 150% that they're not going to be, we don't have to worry about them. But we're just letting these folks in. And my problem is if these are single people of fighting age coming in now, okay? It's not families from these countries. It's single age people. Now, I'm going to take you down a movie, so to speak. I know it's just a movie, but I want to take you somewhere. Have you ever seen the movie Troy with, I think it was Brad Pitt in that. And if you remember the scene where they brought a Trojan horse, a wooden Trojan horse, up to the kingdom, up to the gates to be let in. And the king allowed that Trojan horse to come in through those walls, unbeknowing that there was an army of people inside this horse. Okay, and so the horse goes in, night falls, and then all of a sudden, while they're all sleeping, this army just comes out and takes over. It's kind of the same concept in some ways, because if you honestly think about it, they're taking these people and they're just letting them in, and then they're just, let's put them over here. Let's take them to Philadelphia. Let's take them to Pennsylvania. Let's take them to, this state. Let's take them to this state. And they're just all over the place. How do we know that they're not a sleeper cell? That some of these people aren't part of a sleeper cell, and now they're in our states? Because there's some of them that come in that just poof, they're gone. We have no idea where they're at. No way of tracking them. This is not good, folks. I mean, I don't know about you. I mean, I'm sorry, but if you don't want to come here legally, then y'all need to get the fuck back. Go home. Don't let them in until you vet them. So you have that's going on. Okay, so now you have all these people in our country. Now, who's to say that something doesn't go off, and now all of a sudden we have, because mind you, I want you to understand this. Since Biden has taken office, we've had over 5 million people cross that border and come into our country. 5 million, folks. That is the population of Ireland that has crossed our border and is in the United States. Now, if you got 5 million people, say, and even half of that are these single-aged fighting men, women, whatever, are over here, that's 2.5 million people in our country right now that would be ready to take up arms against us if that did happen. See, this is stuff I think about. This is the kind of crap that goes in my head on a constant basis. And I just can't fathom why other people don't think like this. It's like, yeah, okay, I get it. You want to, allow these people in because they're trying to escape persecution and this and that. That's the same exact thing that we did when we wanted to get away from the rule of England and all that stuff. And we wanted our freedoms and all this. Well, folks, I think that is not even I don't think that's what it really has a lot to do with. I mean, maybe a little bit, but I think the whole reason why the left wants them to hear, because, they just said that over in California, Gavin Newsom, good old fucking Pelosi nephew, is allowing illegal immigrants to have a state ID. The only reason why you need a state ID if you're an illegal immigrant is so you can fucking vote and cheat. Wake up. Okay. Now, I know I jumped off the Russia thing here for a second, but I wanted to make that point right then and there on why they want these illegals in here. They want them in here because, trafficking is $1 billion industry. They're, the fact that, the drugs that are coming over our border is a huge problem that isn't being addressed by Kamala, whatever the fuck her name is, or even Biden himself, or, because there's no problem at the border. And all the drugs, especially the fentanyl that's coming in here, think about it. The fentanyl that's coming in here is the number one killer of people from the ages of roughly about 18 to 49 right now. That is the number one killer, because kids are taking stuff that they think is one thing, and then all of a sudden the parents come up into their bedroom and find them face down on their desk dead because it was laced with fentanyl. And the fentanyl is coming from China, and it's coming through our southern borders. But now, hey, I'm a conspiracy theorist here, folks. I can see what's going on at the border, but, it's just me. It's completely crazy. But anyways, I'm sorry about that. I went off on a little tangent, but let's get back to Russia. Putin is now starting to make threats about using ballistic missiles, nuclear ballistic missiles. I can see that happening here soon, because I think Putin's back is up against the wall. He didn't think this whole thing with Ukraine was going to be this lengthy, I don't think. And I don't think Beijing has given Russia their full power yet, or their full thumbs up yet, or approval to stand by them yet, because they're seeing what's going on and Russia's not getting the job done. Hence why now they're calling for another 300,000 men on top of, I think there's another million that are going to be going through training and all this stuff. So that's 1.3 million by December-ish, if not sooner, that are going to be on the front lines. The only reason why you need that many people on the front line is when you're using ballistic missiles. Because I think the only way now, honestly, that Russia's going to have a chance to just be able to come ahead is by using ballistics. And when they do that, now they have the people to go through these cities after they bomb them. Because I know a lot of people think, oh no, it's nuclear fallout, this and that, everybody's going to die. No, folks, that's not what happens. I think there's like a 10 to 21 day where, the chance of radiation and all that stuff. But even at that, unless you're on ground zero, yeah, there's going to be more cancer, cases coming up. There's going to be more of that, a few more here, a few more there. But really, it's after the initial blast and after about 10 days or so, it's back to life as we know it. And then this is when Putin can start sending those people in. Now, using these kind of weapons, is it going to cause damage? Of course. There's going to be catastrophic damage. There's going to be cities blown off the map, this and that. Okay, but the after effect and the fallout isn't really going to be there because, after a certain amount of time, you're going to be able to start, using the land again. You're going to all that stuff. So it is a big deal, but it's not how they proclaim it in movies. So, but I think that's the only way, and that's the only thing I'm seeing right now with what Putin is doing by calling up all these extra, men and all that stuff, is because if they did do that, then they can go in and, scour the cities and kill off whoever else they need to and take them over very easily and basically wipe out the Ukrainian army. And then from there, move on to the Baltic states, Poland, stuff like that, retake the Soviet Union, and basically keep going. Kind of like the Hitler 2.0 is what's going to be happening here with Putin, because the problem with Putin is he doesn't have a reverse gear. He has one gear, and he's got the hammer down, folks, and he's not going to stop. So, I'm not for the Ukrainian war. I don't like Ukraine. I think Ukraine is as corrupt and with the deep state as America, and I think our deep state, the cabal, has definitely got their hooks into stuff over there, and that's what kind of triggered everything. But, in the same aspect, if they're keeping holding. And I guess another rumor is the reason why Putin is beefing up his military is because he's expecting a NATO attack from the West. So I'm going to keep an eye on that as well, because if that does happen, then that changes the whole dynamic of everything. And, with that happening, then you got what's going on with Xi Jinping. It's just a very volatile situation right now happening in Eastern Europe. Which brings me now to this little ditty. And I still can't believe they actually did this. Belgium has shut down one of their nuclear reactors, regardless of their situation that they're in. It was a nuclear reactor in Belgium, was shut down on the 23rd, despite high power prices due to due to a law on nuclear phase out. So they shut it down despite everything else that's going on right now. I feel for the men and women in Eastern Europe. They're really going to feel it, especially with the gas. Your natural gas, you're going to be cold, and now you may not have electricity. Putin's already threatened to shut off power to the Baltic states. So unfortunately, because in Europe they've depended on Russia for natural resources for so long, they kind of put themselves in a situation, but we're seeing it right back here at home with the executive orders by good old Biden. We're going to soon be in the same situation because, there's no new drilling for anything going on right now because the, executive orders don't allow it, or Biden's administration is making it even harder and harder for the people to be able to actually, for these companies to drill and provide us with energy because they're so fixated on this green energy, which that brings me to something else. So this whole green energy, so the Republicans, once they take over, hopefully they take over and after midterms, they plan on investigating, doing a big investigation on Biden because it is now come to the attention that a major U.S. green group influencing the Biden administration policymaking has very deep ties to the Chinese government. This is on Fox News. So that right there is, in my eyes, no question. This president has compromised the security and the people of the United States of America, and he needs to be impeached and out, along with Pelosi, along with Kamala Harris and all of them. They need to go. So hopefully we have a red wave and, they start investigating that so we can actually, there's so much proof with Biden and his, he's got his hand in with the CCP and all this stuff. There's so much proof that it's, look at the Hunter Biden laptop, but that was conspiracy theory. This will be conspiracy theory until the day we die, or until he dies. Well, wait a minute, isn't Biden already dead? No, that's a conspiracy theory too, right? So I think right there is about where we're going to wrap up today's episode. And moving forward, the show schedule is going to kind of look like this. It's going to be Wednesdays, Thursdays, and most likely on Saturdays. I believe those are the dates I'm going to be doing, but definitely Mondays. I'm still trying to get everything on a nice, solid schedule for y'all, so you know exactly when. If anything changes, I will definitely let you guys know. But if you guys, for a minute, if I can bend your ear for one couple more minutes here, I'm basically a call of action here. What I need some help, folks. I need you guys, if you listen to the podcast, do me a favor, go to Apple, go to the iTunes podcast or Apple Podcast, whatever, and Spotify. Give me a 5-star review if you like the content. Give me, write a review out too, because these are the two things with the new algorithms that podcasts are, that Apple and Spotify are going through. They base things off of reviews, having a 5-star and actually having a written review. If you can, do me a solid, go to those spots, leave me a review, give me 5 stars. Also subscribe to the show to make sure that you get every episode. And if you want to, or if you could, go to the website, Laoch's whenthehammerdrops.com, sign up for the mailing email list. What I'm going to start doing with the email list is I'm going to send out emails periodically of new episodes that are coming, new series that I'm going to be doing, giveaways, all this fun stuff. Definitely go there, sign up for the mail list so I can get you included in on that as well. I'll include all the links below. And until the next episode, folks, I will talk to you guys, and I'll see you guys on Wednesday.